Good evening. Welcome to Action Island, presented by FanDuel. We are previewing the wildcard matchup between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got three experts with me tonight. Simon Hunter, Gilles Gallant, we got Stucky filling in. Each one of them is going to give me two bets they love for this game. The rest of us are going to vote one bet that we love, and the other bet gets voted off the island. That's why we call it Action Island, folks. Everything we're talking about, all the picks, all the data, all the research, available for free in the award-winning Action Network app. Plus, later in the show, Darren Ravel with our market updates. Reminder, like I said, we are sponsored by FanDuel. Bet the NFL playoffs with America's #1 sportsbook. When you bet NFL same-game parlays this weekend, all customers can get up to $100 in free bets, win or lose. Place a total of $20 or more on NFL same-game parlays or SGP Plus bets during the wildcard round to be eligible. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Simon Hunter, kick us off.
So let me start off our parlay with the Jaguars plus 2.5. A bet that no one wants to make. No one wants to bet the Jaguars in the playoffs. Everyone wants to take the Chargers. They're the darling of the league. Everyone loves Herbert. This is right when we step in and we take this Jags team at home, a dog, in a game that I feel like most people agree. This line should be closer to a pick. No one's going to be shocked when the Chargers, if they do win this game, win by 1 point, maybe even 2. But that's why we take the 2.5. I think that is a key number. We see it time and time again. There's plenty of times where games are 23-21, 21-20, and the game comes down to a late field goal that lands on the 2. It just happens more often than not nowadays, especially with missed extra points. So to me, 2.5 is a key number. I like the Jags here as the dog. We've seen this number bounce around all week. I think it's going to settle in here at 2.5. Even if we got 3, that'd be a gift. But I just can't see the pros letting it get up to 3. So the fact that it's still 2.5 to me is such a good number here, especially for this Jags team. My second bet will be Keenan Allen over 73.5 receiving yards. This number has been bumping up and down, but even if it went up to 75, I'd still take it. It's just a good number in a matchup where Keenan Allen's going to be the guy. On third downs, Herbert's only looking for one guy. It's Keenan Allen. It's always been that way. Now with Mike Williams out, that's a huge deal to this offense. We've seen when he is out of the games, the offense really slants towards Keenan Allen. I mean, Herbert just overly targets him when there's no Mike Williams. So looking at this matchup against a really suspect secondary with the Jaguars, that's where you kind of want to attack them. I can just see it being an easy over for this. I mean, it's a little scary that it's this low. I thought it'd be closer to 80, but to me, it's too good of an opportunity to pass it. I don't think the books are counting Mike Williams not playing in this game or being less than healthy and factoring that number into Keenan Allen, who anytime he doesn't play, he's gone over this number this season.
All right, so we got Keenan Allen over 73.5 receiving yards. We got the Jags plus 2.5. Stucky and Gilles, let's make our bets. All right, gentlemen, I'll count down, and then we will reveal. 3, 2, 1, reveal. One of us is on.
By the way, you can tell I'm filling in. I have you guys have all the fancy cards. I'm holding up an Iowa football pad.
One of us is on an island in this. That's me taking the Jags. Gilles, you're on Keenan Allen. Tell me what you got.
Yeah, I love a good home dog, but Simon was right. The Allen number seems a little low, and I think we need to take advantage of that because even with the 7 games that he had missed this season, he is still first on the team in first down catches. You could tell that Herbert really looks for him. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Keenan when we get to my segment, but yeah, I love Keenan Allen in this matchup, especially with the way that the Jaguars have struggled versus slot receivers. So give me Keenan Allen in this matchup.
All right, Stucky, the interloper with the non-professional cards. Why are you on Keenan Allen?
With an Iowa football pad, I should be on any under. But I like Keenan Allen here for a couple of reasons. I think this Jaguars secondary is bottom 3 unit in the entire NFL. They benefited really from a schedule that just was a gift. I mean, they faced the easiest schedule of opposing quarterbacks of any team in the entire NFL. Just look at their division. I mean, the quarterbacks and passing offenses that they face in that division, they clinched the division by facing Josh Dobbs and the Titans. So I think they're in for a rude awakening here. And then, Joe, you mentioned their struggles with slot receivers. They're also 31st in the NFL in defending the short pass. And that's one of the gripes that a lot of people have with the Chargers play calling. is they don't attack downfield enough, but that actually might work here, and it'll definitely benefit Keenan Allen, especially on third down. So yeah, I think Keenan Allen is in for a big game.
All right, so Keenan Allen over receiving yards is going to be the first leg of our parlay. I went with the Jags because I feel like I'm getting really good value on a home underdog in what I believe to be a coaching mismatch. I've got Doug Peterson, who has been here before, and I banked on him early in the year, being the guy who could turn Trevor Lawrence around. And we saw in the latter half of the year, a lot of us had the Jags to win the AFC South tickets. That's what happened. End of the year, they started to figure a lot out, especially with Travis Etienne supporting Trevor Lawrence. So, sorry, I like the Jags plus 2.5. We're gonna make it a little more complicated later in the show. Gilles, take us into your bets.
Sure. So I've got 2 Chargers props I want to present to you, and you guys can decide which way we want to go. So I'm going to start with the Chargers running back. We're going to go with Austin Eckler over 35.5 receiving yards. For the season, he averaged about 42.4 yards receiving per game. He's hit this mark in 12 of 17 games this season. And Eckler, he led all running backs in overall targets, second year in a row. The Jags, as Stucky had alluded to, they ranked 31st in receiving yards per game to running backs, those short passes, 47.9 yards per game to opposing running backs. And I think if the Jags pass rush gets a little life early, I could see a lot of quick dump offs to Eckler and to Keenan Allen as well. But yeah, I'm going to be going with Austin Eckler over 35.5 receiving yards. And then as an alternative, couldn't come here without an anytime touchdown bet. I'm going to take Keenan Allen for an anytime touchdown at plus 125. And Allen finished with 8.9 targets per game. I think that was a little bit lower just because of the injury and having to kind of gut it out midway through the season. He still finished with 15 red zone targets this year, despite missing 7 games. That led the Chargers. And the Jags, they've given up 18 passing touchdowns to wide receivers this season, with the majority of them going to the slot receivers positions. And also Mike Williams, I think he's going to play, but if he does, he'll be limited with a back injury, and Keenan Allen could see a huge target share bump as a result. So Keenan Allen, anytime touchdown, and Austin Eckler are my 2 options.
All right, here we go. Simon and Stucky, let's make our votes. 3, 2, 1, reveal. All right.
Sweep.
On this one, we got a consensus. Simon, explain yourself.
I love Eckler. Love Eckler in this matchup. But the biggest thing is just the fact that I feel like Stucky already talked about. They're going to do a lot of short passes. And that's where Eckler has really shined all season. He gets those dump offs. And he could take this over at any point. Like, he's one of those guys, he can catch this and he can break this at any moment. This whole season, he's kind of been not their X factor. Herbert's been incredible. But if you look at the numbers, he really did carry this team early in the season when Herbert was dealing with those rib injuries. And to me, down the stretcher, you thought he would tire out. It just hasn't happened. The drop-off has not happened for Eckler. So just going off the value base here, to me, Keenan Allen, I'm a little worried that their defense is going to kind of lock him down the red zone because they know that's exactly where Herbert's going to go. Or I could just see this on Eckler hitting in one play. He's just that explosive of a player. I love these short reception totals for these running backs where the book's not understanding. The Chargers love to dump the ball off to Eckler here.
Stuck, what can you add on Eckler?
Yeah, I actually like both of these, but I chose Eckler. I mean, I think when you want to build these same game parlays, you want to have either a story or some correlation. So, with Allen over receiving yards, and then if we think he's going to have a big day, Allen, to score a touchdown. And I will, always trust in the GOAT of any time or first touchdown scores. But my story is I think that the Chargers are going to have a lot of success with short passes. I've talked about the struggles there in the Jaguars secondary. I think this number is a little bit short, so I went with Eckler as well.
Yeah, it's hard not to want to bet on Eckler as the second leg for this parlay because of the opportunities that he'll get coming out of the backfield. He's proven it all year long. I thought one stat Gilles pointed out, he's been over this in 12 of 17 games. Look, the guy's the best two-way running back in the NFL right now. There's no reason to bet against that. Stucky, welcome to the show. Please give us the third leg of our same game parlay.
Well, I'm filling in as a guest, and I'm going to make you guys sweat. I know that on your show, you guys like the Jags, and Simon led off with Jags plus 2.5 as one of his 2 options. Well, here are my 2 options. I'm going to give you Chargers money line, And I actually don't disagree with what Simon said. 2 is becoming more of a key number. Since they pushed the extra points back, you're seeing a higher frequency of games land on 2. I also talked about this on our Action Network podcast with myself and Chris Raybon. I took some Chargers money line because there's nothing more Chargers than them winning this game by 1 or 2. I don't trust them to lay almost any number, but talked about this Jaguars secondary. And, look, when we get to the playoffs, I do think lines are very efficient. And I look for kind of the undervalued units or the overvalued units. And I just don't think that the struggles of this Jacksonville secondary and how poor they really are is being accounted for in the market. And I think ultimately that's going to be the difference. If Herbert has the ball late, needs to go down and score a touchdown to win this game by 1 or 2 against this Jag secondary with a lot of short passes moving down the field, he's going to be able to do it. I also think that I agree that there's a coaching mismatch in favor of Jacksonville here, but I do think that the Chargers have a good defensive staff, starting with Staley. And there's a couple of coverages that Trevor Lawrence still struggles with that I think he could be confused by here. I think they're going to have a good defensive game plan, which leads me into my second leg, and that's going to be the Jaguars team total under 23.5 points. I do think that if the Jaguars offense has a ton of success here against the Chargers defense, it's getting healthier and is trending up. If you look at, over the past 4 or 5 weeks, but if they could find a way to get to, 27, 28 points, they're probably going to win this game. And if you look historically, that's all you need to do with Justin Herbert. If the Chargers hold teams to under 27 points, he's 18-4. I think they do that here again. It's outdoors, wild card game. Little teams are going to play a little tight here. You have both quarterbacks starting their first playoff game. So I think there's a lot of factors that work in favor of this game going under and also the Jaguars under. And look, we're going to have a story here. We're going to have Allen, Allen having a big day, a lot of short passes to Eckler. And then the Chargers are either going to come down and win this game, 23-21, and you guys can cover your plus 2.5. But those are my 2: Chargers money line, or we're going to go Jags team total under 23.5.
You're putting us in a very tricky spot. You're stuck. Simon and Joe, let's make our bets. All right, 3, 2, 1, reveal.
See you guys squirm a little bit.
Yeah, right. Simon, go ahead. We landed on a consensus of Chargers money line, and you're against it.
Yeah, I completely get where Stuck's coming from. I can't go against my home dog, Doug Peterson. I can't do it. I won't do it. I won't let Stucky trick me, but I will take an under in the sense that he's exactly right. This defense could scheme it up. Trevor Lawrence, we just saw him play against Tennessee. That was a playoff game. He struggled. He needed a strip sack turnover to be back into that game, to win that game. So to me, would not be shocked at all if Jags go over a 23.5 total just because of that. It's different in the playoffs. The speed's different. Everything about it's different. Bosa's back as well for this Chargers defense. That's a huge deal. So to me, the lesser of two evils, I will take the Chargers under.
All right, Gilles.
Yeah, for me, it was more about whether you trust in the Chargers offense or do you trust in the Chargers defense? And I don't think you can really trust either. But at the same time, I think if I have to choose a side, I'm going to side with the Chargers because of it being like, I think that a lot of the results that we saw in the Jags in the second half were a little bit luck, but at the same time, they beat up on my Cowboys. What are you going to do? But at the same time, I feel like Stucky trying to kind of break the Action Island matrix here really impressed me. So I want to take the Chargers money line here in this spot.
Yeah, look, I stated my case. I like the Jags plus 2.5, but I also feel like this is a very close game. And the reason why I like the Jags plus 2.5 is because I don't trust the Chargers to run away with it, even if they are considered to be the more talented roster, because they haven't generally been able to do that as a favorite in their history, given a lot of the decision-making variance that goes into Brandon Staley and how he manages these games. So I'm trying to thread a needle here and get the Chargers on the money line and still win with Jags plus 2.5. Very, very tricky, Stucky. I like what you did there.
We'll see. You know what? I'm really interested to see. I don't know if either one of these coaches will have the stones to do this in a wild card playoff game. And by the way, Tom, to your point, wild card in this round, outdoor unders have just been money over the past 30 years. But I'm curious to see, we've seen both of these coaches this year in games, win games on basically the final play by going for 2 after they score what was going to be the game tying touchdown. Do you trust Trevor? Like Trevor Lawrence did it against the Ravens. The Chargers also did it. Do you see either one of these coaches at the end? They say, you know what? Let's go. They kind of have that in them. I don't know if you do that in a playoff game, but if that does happen, you're going to love sitting on your +2.5.
Listen, I can't wait to watch this game. I think when you were talking about driving for a touchdown at the end of the game, in my head, it was Jags 20, Chargers 14, and the Chargers end up winning 21-20. I could easily see that scenario coming to fruition, in which case we're all winners because we're under 23.5. We're Jags covering. We're Chargers money line covering. If Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen can come through for us, and maybe on that final drive, they do it together, who knows? Darren Ravel.
Thank you, Chad. Let's get you to those games. Chargers -2.5 against the Jaguars. The Chargers are getting 61% of the bets on the spread and 65% of the money. When you look at the total is 47.5. It's 50-50 on bets, and 55% of the money is on under 47.5. Now to 49ers Seahawks. 49ers are -9.5, getting 68% of the bets and 74% of the money. And then on the total, 42.5, 58% of the money is on the over, and 63% of the bets are on the over. And just reminding you that Action Island is sponsored by FanDuel. Bet the NFL playoffs with America's #1 sportsbook. When you have a NFL same game parlay this weekend, all customers get up to $100 in free bets, win or lose. Place a total of $20 or more on NFL same game parlay or same game parlay bets during the wild card round. To be eligible, terms and conditions apply. Chad, back to you.
All right, Darren. Thank you very much. Let's recap what we got. In our same game parlay, we got Keenan Allen over receiving yards. We got Austin Eckler over his receiving yards. We got the Chargers on the money line. Also, the other bets our experts had. Simon liked the Jags +2.5. Gilles liked Keenan Allen anytime touchdown. Stucky liked the Jags under 23.5 total team points. This has been Action Island, presented by FanDuel. If you're following along with our same game parlay, don't forget to tag us at Action Network HQ. Again, download the free award-winning Action Network app. Get everything you need, all your picks, all your data, all your analysis, all your research. Until next time, good luck.